God's got an answer. He's got an answer. Father, we thank you this time for this day of worship set aside to come together as your children and praise you. I had not planned on sharing this morning, but as I going along through these last few days, the Lord reminded me of some things that the congregation as a whole not aware of, and so I need to come back one more time to pick up where I left off in the last two sessions in regard to Genesis 37, talking about Joseph and the love he had or has for his father, his children, and for God, his father, his brothers, and for God. Didn't matter what took place, the love of God in Joseph, the scripture says, overwhelmed and crushed all sins. And so he was able to be victorious because of his love for God and commitment to living the way that he had learned and did in good stead. He prospered, even as his soul prospered, because of his love for his Creator. So let's turn back to Genesis 37, and this time we'll read on down further in that chapter. We'll begin on the third verse. Well, let's back up. We'll back up verse 1 and read on down through. And then look at some things here. Bear with me, Genesis 36. And Jacob dwelt in the land where his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought his father the evil report. We want to talk about that some more today, but let's move on down further though and see where that wasn't the last time that the report he brought was not good. He told the truth. It just wasn't a good report, but he told the truth and reported to his father as he was asked to do about what was taking place. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their fathers loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. And I say again, the enemy takes advantage of what we don't know. Amen. They didn't know how to deal with what was taking place in the family, so therefore the enemy got them to hate Joseph. And because of the hate, they couldn't speak peaceably to him. As long as I'm in hate, I can't speak peaceably. But once I repent of whatever hate I have and then love, as Jesus commands us to love, speaking of today, love like he loved, then I find myself able to speak peaceably as Jesus did. And I think Stephen, when he was stoned, said pretty much the same words that Jesus said about not laying what was taking place against him to their charge. But it takes love to do that. And we have that love in us. It's a matter of allowing it to control us and allowing it to be perfected. Scripture says, whoso keeps the word of God in him, the love of God perfected. So we find the word that pertains to our life, and then we keep it, and God causes that love to mature. Thank God for his ways and his understanding that helps us grow up. All right, verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream and told it his brethren. They hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf. And his brethren said unto him, shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? I mean, so he's the next to the youngest, remember? And they hated him, yet the more for his dreams and for his words. So we see hate multiplied. And they didn't understand that his dreams was coming from God. And but God was showing, as we know, what would take place. And didn't fully understand it. I know he didn't. And until we read the end of the story, we didn't fully understand what's written here as we got there. And then continue reading the book of Genesis to see what happened. But we do see here, though, that they didn't appreciate one of their own, their brethren, being exalted. And really, the enemy works the same way today. If we don't watch it, when someone amongst us is promoted, or gets raised, or is put in a position of authority, rather than rejoice with them, the enemy will get us to hate them and not speak peaceably. But once again, God's working in the earth to fix the problems that we're faced with on a daily basis. So we move on now, verse 9. He dreamed yet another dream. He told it to his brethren. He said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him. It seems as if he didn't tell the father about that first dream. He did tell the brothers, but his second dream, he told the father about it as well. But his father rebuked him and said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? When I read that, you know what came to mind? The lesson that some congregations had last week, where Jacob has left his home. Esau is after him because he has cheated Esau out of his birthright. And he leaves to stay alive to go to Laban's house. And on the way, he lays down on a pile of rocks. He made for a pillow, and he dreams. And there's a ladder or a staircase from earth to heaven. And he sees angels ascending and descending on that staircase. You know, if anybody should have understood some folk have dreams from God, he should have had remembrance of, I remember when God gave me a dream years ago before this, but he didn't come to mind because he's concentrating on what this boy just said to him. But it's amazing how sometimes when God has given us light over here, that unless we slow down and relax, you gotta relax. Because if you're tight, that light that you got use of, you won't have the use of it. You won't remember it. It's some simple things. You can get in a situation where it's pressure for what you're going to do or talking to somebody, and you can forget where you live. Or you can be stressed out behind not sleeping, hello somebody, not sleeping and working too hard, and you can forget folks' names that you know. I remember back when I was in the 80s, when I had worked like I was used to work a year ago. And notice I said used to work. Yeah. And I came out of the shop, I walked across the street, was going through the hangar, and when I went across the hangar, I was trying to remember Mike Dillman's name. Remember Mike Dillman, though? And Mike was in the shop. I got across the street, in the shop, in the hangar, and I could not remember his name. I tried, it wouldn't come. So I took a chip, I said, it'll come. It'll come. And sure enough, it finally did come, but I didn't understand at that time that what I was experiencing was sleep deprivation, and that's one of the side effects of sleep deprivation. Your memory is not as good as it normally would be. The brain and the mind using that brain not working together like they should until you relax, and then it pops to my mind. And when you get sleep, it just comes and goes. I mean, it comes easily then, you see. Matter of fact, I think the last message I preached before I told you all, or the day I told you I was going to go and lay down and rest my legs, because I was in pain just standing here when I preached that day. And I couldn't remember Heidi's name. You remember that? I had to stop. I had been up all night that night. I got 3 hours sleep. And I was preaching, I couldn't recall her name. Then it finally came to me. But the good thing about when you're sharing like that, the Holy Ghost is bringing up the verses and bringing up the things you're saying. And so you can say what he's bringing up. When you start talking about reactivating or activating the memory, in that case, to remember what her name is, I couldn't remember her name. And it was funny at first. But then later on, when I realized what was going on, that wasn't funny no more. But anyhow, so, but in pressure situations, unless you can relax, you can't function like you should. You can watch the basketball games being played. You can watch the football games being played. I just saw this morning where they were reminding us about Lamar Jackson, is that his name? Ravens? Mm-hmm. And how well he did last week. But they did things that he does well, which is run. And he ran more than, I think, any other quarterback in history, 27 runs in one game. But they won. And that's the name of the game. Win the game. Now, he might not run as much today because he's had a week of preparation to work on his passing skills. But they did what was his, not necessarily special, his skill level, his degree of skill. Strong suit.
Skill set.
Yeah, skill set even. The guy's an instinctive runner, got speed. And I remember when he got drafted, a lot of guys were saying, well, he's coming to the pros now. Let's see what kind of speed he's going to have doing then, because those guys in the pros can really run. And they're finding out, even though they're pros, his speed is still elite. So don't downplay what a guy in college has to compare it to what he's going to be able to do when he gets in the pros. Now, he's got to learn yet how to read the defenses and so forth and be a better passer, but he knows how to escape. And as one guy put it, talking about a friend, he said he only runs as fast as need be. In other words, the faster the guys are running after him are, the faster he runs. You see. But the point is that you got to be able to relax in whatever you're doing in order to succeed and be at your best. So Lamar got the permission to run when necessary. Matter of fact, the first 15 plays, I understand, are scripted. So he knew he was going to be doing running plays. He knows what his strong suit is. He knows what he's best at doing. And so he operated. And when you and I understand the need to rest in God, to be able to rest in God and relax and rest in God and not get uptight by nothing going on. Then when we get in pressure situations, like we're going to be in, hopefully another week and a half or so from now. And I said pressure because there will be pressure trying to be applied, but then the pressure can try to be applied, but depending on your mindset and your frame of mind will dictate whether the pressure can affect you or not. And when you know what you know, that you know, and you're resting in God, shoot your best shot. All we're looking for is an opportunity to exemplify and let our light shine. You see. And so, we don't forget things that we normally would remember, like he forgot here in regard to the dreams that God gave him, speaking of Jacob. All right, so he says, scripture says, shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? I know his mom was already going on, but still the fact remains is that that's what was revealed in the vision. And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem, otherwise they go in the world. And Israel, notice the change now. Been saying Jacob, but now he says Israel. Scripture says. His name had already been changed, but for some reason, the first part of that chapter, the first 12 verses, they kept saying Jacob, but now he changes it and says Israel. Said unto Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said, here am I. Now, when you think about this, he's already being hated by his brethren. And part of that hate had to do with he's telling what he sees them doing that his father wants him to tell. His father knows these boys ain't the best. He's already gotten one bad report about them. And as Ken Wayne can tell you got to check on folks. There's a commercial out now where it says, is it quiet in the house or is it getting too quiet? And then this mother and father checks the video, and the son's about to go do something with a bicycle. I think he's going to try to run to the ramp or something. I forget now. But they run out there to head him off. And I'm going, why wouldn't y'all watching him before he got quiet like that? You should know where he was all the time. If you're going to watch a child, bam. You got to check on people. And I had a dream, I think, just the last couple of nights. I know I did. Last couple of nights where I'm at work, like I'm about to building airplanes again, and there's sitting people around to check to see if I'm working or not. Because they did that. Because they want to be sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. And our owners did that quite frequently. But in this case, it was necessary because they weren't doing what they're supposed to do all the time. And they said to him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So what's he going to do if he's obedient? Go and bring word again. This thing he had in mind to always obey his father. But the average person, they already know that the brothers don't like him or he hates them. And now I got to go and, as some folks say, spy on him. It's amazing how some people will pick words out to try to get you not to do what you're supposed to do when you're told to do it by somebody in authority. They use words like spy or snitch, or what came to mind this week was, you're a tattletale. All these words and phrases that some people come up with, the enemy gives them to try to stop the person in authority from knowing what they're faced with, or knowing with which they're faced. That's correct, but it don't sound that too well. With which they're faced in order to solve the problems and make the atmosphere of the home and the congregation and the place of business as it ought to be. Anyhow, so he went out of the vale of Hebron and he came to Shechem. A certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field, looking for him. And the man asked him, what you looking for? What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, they are departed thence, for I heard them say, notice, his mother would say, a little bird gonna tell you. When she first said, I know what she's talking about. Little bird. The bird was talking for really out the bird was there. You know, sometimes the Lord brings stuff back to your mind. Because some folks will say stuff and they will right over your head. She should explain. Somebody's going to tell you something, son. So be listening when they talk. But she said, a little bird's going to tell you. So sure enough, a little bird told me. And the little bird, they told me, he wasn't really the little bird you would think a little bird would normally be. He was a guy, a young man, who wasn't as mentally developed as some people, most people are. But he had enough sense to see what God wanted him to see and tell me what he saw when the time came. I didn't ask him. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and God said, tell him what you saw. And he told me what he saw. Then it dawned on me, that's the bird the mother was talking about. Because sometimes you don't know who it is. God just tells you somebody's going to tell you something. And so anyhow, this man tells him, I heard him say, let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near to them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, behold, this dreamer cometh. They got a name for us too. I hadn't heard what it is, but they got a name. Now Ken hadn't heard either, so he told me otherwise. They ain't gonna tell Ken, because no Ken tell me. Move right along. Come on, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit, and we'll say some evil beast to devour him. We shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hand to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass when Joseph was come unto his brethren, they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And you know that bothered him. That was his favorite coat. You know, and he's wearing it everywhere he goes. I'm moving right now. And they took him and cast him to a pit And the pit was empty, with no water in it. They sat down to eat bread, and lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with the camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it to slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites. Let not our hands be upon him, for he is our brother in our flesh, and his brethren were content. I'll stop right there. And so I read those because the first two times I referred to those verses but didn't read them. But it's best, as God reminded me, if you see them for yourself, it refreshes your memory. At the same time, I don't have to rely on memory as to what happened, but we see what happened there. But when I first shared the first two times, I dealt with the fact they could not speak peaceably. But today, I want to deal more with the understanding of what should be said and also what should not be said by us as we live from day to day. And some of the things we should say don't seem like they should be said apart from Scripture. And that's what God brought to mind this week. As I studied this a week ago, I learned some things about the word tattle that I didn't know. I never had an occasion to actually look up that word. But God had me look it up. And also the word gossip. I thought I understood what it meant. And I was pretty close. You know, close is not what it is, though. Mm-hmm. As Day pointed out, we got to be 100% right, not 99% right. But I didn't have the need to look it up, and so I didn't. But as with the spirit of man being the counting of the Lord, I had looked up this past year when David ministered on it, and the Lord said, now find out what that means. And so the Lord had me look it up and teach me what it means. And so in this regard, we all need to know what's happening when we obey God and tell things that should be told. As I said over the years, maybe 30 years now, I'm going on 31, it'll be 31 in March. God's not going to show me everything. We got too many other apostles and prophets and prophetesses in the building. I know how God works, so I'm not surprised when God shows them a prophet or prophetess, something that I hadn't seen. I know that's how he's working. That's how he works. He every part supplies strength. He's going to use every part. At the same time, he gives me rest. I don't have to be a part of it. Every time something takes place, to be a part of it. As Jethro told Moses when he had the people coming by from morning to night, judging them and correcting problems. He said, you just find some folk that the Spirit of God is in and who hate bribery and some other things too. But the thing is, find some folk to stand for right that the Spirit of God is with, because he wasn't in Moses, he was with Moses. And let them judge the small stuff, and then you take care of the big stuff. So that's what I've done over the years. I let you all deal with certain problems, and then I get involved when I have to. And so at the same time, it hones your skills, and it keeps me, as Jethro said, from being worn out, from working too much. Because I used to watch Linda's mom. She would do like Samuel. People would come to her for counsel from morning and to night. And sometimes she had to leave town to get rest. She perished. Leave town to get rest. She would go up to Conway and sit in the boat. She wasn't fishing. She'd sit in the boat. She said she was going to fish, but she's in the boat just getting some rest. Or she'd go to hot springs and rest, because people were coming and going all the time. And so as we learn from God's word, we see that God sends us people to work with us. That's what he's doing now, equipping us so that when we get the new building, folks start really coming, we all can work together like we're doing now. But if you never have any problems to help solve now, you're going to be equipped skill-wise, experience-wise, along with skill, to do it when we get the people in. And even though you know what to do, it's one thing to know what to do. Listen to my words now. It's one thing to know what to do. It's another thing to do that thing with ease. Because the more you do it,
easier it gets.
Easier it gets. But you can do it without thinking about it. First car I drove was standard shift. I learned from the book how to drive it. Car was in the driveway, about to bump the concrete porch because my grandfather was going forward, thought he had reverse, and was in second. He knew he was going the wrong direction. I watched him from the house, 1 block down the road. Papa got it in second, thinking he got it reverse. I knew where it was. Papa, I can back it out. Okay, yeah. Got in there and got the right gear and eased off the clutch. My first time, never touched the clutch before now. But now I'm about to put to use what I have learned. You learn it first, then you go do it. So I learned how to synchronize. The book, the guy made it plain how to come off the gas. Yeah, ease on the gas and come off the clutch to get it engaged. It's been so long, it stopped. See, but it's engaging, and as you, some people pop the clutch, and see, it's all coming back now. I never did that, but I've seen people do that. Pop the clutch and then the tire, if you got enough power to burn the tires. Nah. Well, that's another story. We're talking about it's running now, we'll see. Now we're talking about come off the clutch while it's running and what it's going to do when you pop the clutch. See? So I seen them do burn rubber all the way up the hill at Hall High. Did I see that when you were there? That's amazing. That's 40 years ago they were doing that. Just smoked the tires all up the hill. I'm thinking, somebody is going to be paying for some tires. They're going to be your mom and daddy. But they got the car with the power, so they smoked the tires to the top of the hill. But anyhow, but I got in there, I eased off the clutch, and it gave a little bit of gas, and backed over out the driveway, and I'm on the hill now. Boy, got a little touch and go there, though. Because I know if I come off, if I'm going to engage, I'm going to roll backward. So I got to synchronize it for sure. Now, it did roll back a teeny bit. And then it locked, and then it gave the gas and went up the hill. And once I got in second gear, it was on in. Yikes! I was smiling at me again. But I learned how to do it from my driver's ed book that they gave us when I was at Hall High. I took driver's ed. So I could see it in my mind as I read it. But then I did it. And when I got the little Honda that was a 5-speed, that was a whole different animal. That's just more gears. Then I learned how to skip gears. Yeah, I got it better. But I did it without thinking about it. I hated it at first because you got to change gears every time you're ready to go and stop. What's with this nonsense? Give me automatic. Yeah, I finally got there. But I had to work it relaxing. But the more I did it, the more relaxed I became. The worse finally, I was skipping gears, I ain't thinking about it. You see. So it's the same thing with God's word. What we're doing now as a congregation, we're learning how to solve problems from God's word. My job, teaching the principles, giving the scriptures to help with the problems, and then you do it. And when you do it, it's a little touch and go at first. At first. And you might be a little bug guy while you sit there to counsel somebody. See, Craig used to laugh at me when we would start making the broadcast. When I got to Source with the Word, I've been making broadcasts with him for years, so it wasn't no problem doing it by myself. But the first broadcast, Craig was the host, and me and Richard were the assistant. Craig said, you should have seen your eyes. Especially when we went live on the radio at KOKY, on KITH. He really laughed then. But you see, the more I did it, the easier it got. And so the idea is to learn the principles of God, become skillful in those principles, and in the Word of God, so we can help the people to be helped. You see. So anyhow, so I looked up tattle and looked up gossip and got surprised because it wasn't what I thought it was. But anyhow, so Ken and little lady, pass these out for me, please. And I meant to email everybody else, but I want you all to see this as we go through it. As we go through it, I think a minute today. So as we go through it, to see some things, just one page back and front. On the front page it says, understandable talk is not beneficial. The back page, it says talk that is beneficial. And we got to know the difference. Because there was talk I thought was not beneficial, that actually was beneficial. When you start talking about Joseph, as I said the last few times, when Joseph brought his dad the report that was not good about the brethren, somebody would say he should have just kept his mouth shut. He was just stirred the pot. No, he was obeying his father. And as you see on the back page, talking is beneficial. That commentary there at the top, we're not going to read it right. Well, we will read it to one more time on second thought, so that for the benefit of the video, that the people seeing it for the first time can understand why it was talked of beneficial in Joseph telling his father what his brethren were doing. As we saw initially in verse 4, we don't know why he brought that report. But when we kept reading down through Genesis 37, we saw his dad tell him, go check on your brethren and bring me word back. And depending on the person, today, if I don't know what that is and know I should do it, I'm not too comfortable bringing him word back. I don't want to bring him word back. And I might not even bring him word back. I might even lie, depending on who the person is. And some people will do that. They'd rather keep their mouths shut about what's going on rather than tell you what's going on because they don't know no better. You see. But anyhow, so he brought word back, and as on the back page there, as you see there, get my glasses. What? It's in that pocket. I take in the pockets. All right. So the fourth verse says they couldn't speak peaceably to him, and we know before then he brought an evil report. But this note tells you why they hated him, and also brings back out the point about the report that he gave. Because his father loved him, which parents make a difference. When parents make a difference. Children soon take notice of it. And often occasions, not all the time, but children don't have enough wisdom to deal with it, even amongst the congregation, or even within the convention. Sometimes favoritism is shown. How are you going to deal with that? Well, once we learn God's word about that, we can deal with it. Amen. And remain faithful to God and believe in spite of that. They couldn't do it. They couldn't remain faithful to their Father and God in spite of it. It got to them because they lacked the wisdom to handle it. Let's stay with one. Often occasions, feuds and quarrels in families. It often occasions feuds and quarrels in families. Two, because he brought to his father their evil report. Jacob's sons did that when they were from under his eye, which their dirt might have done if they had been at home with him. See, on Kenny Wayne's job, him being the boss, they know his truck. When they see him coming, whatever's wrong, they're going to get right. In the right hand. And when you're there, they're going to toe the line. But as soon as you are leaving, some of them going to start doing whatever they're going to do because when the cat's away, the mice or the rats will play. They will. See? Or the children will. We were talking, Ken was remembering some of the stuff we used to do. Some of the stuff he remember, I didn't even remember. But some I did remember. Especially when the beans got burned. I forgot about that. But something you choose to forget too, by the way. He said, I choose to forget that. But I remember on one occasion, I never would forget though. We played before Mama came home from work. And where the house was, Wright Avenue in Marshall, 2-story house, we could see all the way down to Martin Luther King and Wright Avenue. So when she walking up the street and get off the bus, we could see her coming. She got 3 blocks to walk. I think it's 3 blocks. And so Willa thought she played a trick one day on me. She didn't think she played a trick on me one day. We playing, and we supposed to clean the house up. And I hadn't done my part. Just said, Anyhow, she said, "Here come Mama." I leaped. From the top step, 2-story house, to the bottom step. When I leaped, midway down, I hit the handrail to prepare myself to the bottom floor. And I looked, and Mama wasn't coming. My heart was going. And women just laughed. Because you thought it was funny. But that scared me so bad, I stopped playing right there and went on to clean up. Because I know it was another time Mama would be home. You see. But this is the way they were. They just wasn't doing what they're supposed to do. And so the son told his dad what they were doing because that's his job. And then too, when Mama would get home sometime, we wouldn't like this. We wouldn't tell when Mama asked. Because we tried to not do it. And she'd say, if you don't tell me, when I find out, I'm going to whoop you for not telling me. Is that what you said, Mama? You remember? I don't think they whooped for not telling me. Because we were trying to spare one another. Because we thought it was tattling. Quote unquote. Say tattling somebody. Tattling. You see. And so we wouldn't answer until she said, I'm going to whoop you if you don't tell me. And said, that works real good. So we start telling men. Should have told without that. You see. And when I got early, when I raised our children, even with the children that were a part of our family from Amanda's first marriage, I had to use it a time or two once. I can remember real clear because they had done something. I don't know who did it. You know somebody did it. Ain't nobody fessing up. I said, whoop every last one of y'all. That's find out who did it. Then they'll start pleading for mercy. Daddy, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And you can tell by his eyes it wasn't done it. See, the women, the babies, you can tell by his eyes it wasn't him. And so eventually I found out, but I had to, as Jimmy would say, I had to put the fear of God into him to tell me who did this, because they're trying to hide and protect somebody. But the catch is that if the person in authority asks, the person that understands what their responsibility is, which is to tell the truth, will in fact tell the report, even the report's not good for the person about whom they're speaking. As we see in a moment, this is what Joseph should have done and should not have felt uneasy about it. And so anyhow, but if they had been in the home with him, those things wouldn't have done. But Joseph gave his father an account of their bad carriage, that he, the father, might reprove or correct and restrain them, not as a malicious talebearer, to sow discord. Notice that. Joseph wasn't sowing discord. That wasn't why he was telling his father, but as a faithful brother. Notice that. What kind of brother? Faithful. A faithful brother. Now, what kind of brother are we going to be? Or sister, are we going to be a faithful brother or not? Right. But see, the truth that we're looking at this morning helps us to understand that the person in authority needs to know what's going on, as he or she cannot fix the problem. Okay, moving along. Who, when he does not admonish, in other words, the brother can't correct his own brothers, them himself represents their faults to one that had authority to admonish them. No, it is common for friendly monitors to be looked upon as enemies. That's common. That's for people that don't know any better. Those that hate to be reformed hate those that would reform them. True, very true. He's quoting Proverbs 9:8, which says, reprove or correct not a scorner, one that despises, one that slights, looks down on, disregards, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, he'll love you. Let that soak in for a little bit. How I react when I'm corrected reveals whether I'm wise or not. And if you know that I'm a despiser or scorner before you correct me, then it's got to be somebody in authority that does it. Because I will not accept it from another brother or sister. You ain't the boss, man. I'm trying to help you behind it. I'm trying to help me. You see. But the boss man, if he's going to do his job, but she's going to do her job, then she's going to correct, even though he knows this guy may go off. Amen. I said a whole lot just did. I need to slow down. Because I know some people, in some cases, that if they know so-and-so is going to go off or might go off, they ain't going to say nothing. Amen. You are not being a good boss if you're not correcting those that need to be corrected, regardless of the kind of person they are. The book doesn't say correct only people that accept correction. It warns us about correcting those that scorns, but the person in authority, they got to do the job. Remember Eli? Yes. The report came, your son messing around with the woman at church. I'm telling you, use the word messing around. No, you know what I mean. You see? And Eli talked to him about it, but didn't restrain him. What happened to Eli and his sons? They all got killed. God judged them because the sin they were in under that covenant, the judgment was death. And death to Eli. Eli didn't do it. But Eli was judged as an outcome being death because he would not restrain his sons. He said, you're showing more reverence to your sons than to me. What God said. If I don't correct those that need to be corrected regardless of how they may act, if they're controlling me, I'm not being God controlled. And sometimes mothers do that kind of stuff. And sometimes fathers do that kind of stuff. They will not correct certain children. Why? They may go off. When you learn what your responsibilities are as a father, as a mother, as a husband, as a boss man, a pastor, it doesn't matter. You do your job. Matter of fact, as we used to say when I was coming up, kid, you feel foggy? Beat. You don't back up. You don't expect it, but you be prepared. And often, what you prepare for doesn't even happen with some people. Sometimes it does. But then you have to handle it. I told you about when I told this guy at work to do a certain thing, and he told me no. I think he just broke probation, because on the probation, you don't do stuff like that. Got no sense in that. So he's out of probation, 3 months. But I asked him to do something as a lead man. He told me no. I guess he figures since I'm black and he's white, he can get away with that. But he knew me. I'm friendly with everybody. But see, just because I'm friendly don't mean I'm not firm. And some folk take that friendliness as weakness. So he said, no. I said, come here. Let's go downstairs and talk for a little bit. We was upstairs, a postal shop. Went downstairs to the break room. Ken, I was literally shaking going down the steps. Not for fear, but for anger. I could have bit a nail into it. So I'm fighting to get under control because I know I'm too angry. If you're shaking while you're angry, you're too angry. So I'm fighting for control as I walk down the steps. And you ever been to anger where you had trouble breathing? I started out talking slowly, choosing my words to help him understand. But in the talking process, my breathing was being messed with. So I kept working at relaxing. And finally, I got relaxed enough where I could breathe normally and talk to him as a lead man to a worker, as a friend to another friend. But it took me a good 5 or 6, 7, 8 minutes to get my breathing down to normal. But I stayed with it. But I remember I was like I was almost short of breath almost. You ever been that angry though? You know, but if you know you shouldn't be that angry, then you back off of it. You push it. You know, you control yourself. Thank you, Jesus. Self-control. And I explained to him, it's not good to tell me no. You know what I'm saying? When I got to keep breaking it down, by the way, we talked 45 minutes that day. When we were back upstairs, we were both laughing. We got back at the shop and just said, Walter, long-winded. Sometimes it's necessary. But like I told him, that's just me and you. We ain't gonna tell Joe about that. It's Joe the supervisor. I said, that's between me and you. I said, but it happened again. And I gotta tell Joe. You see. But I understood from my training in the military that everybody that's under your command is not going to obey and not going to accept correction joyfully. That doesn't change what my job is, though. I'm going to do the job, but I'm going to do it God's way. And God's way says, be angry, don't sin. God's way say, I rebuke the person because I love them. Now, I don't rebuke them unless I have to. Now, if they get sideways and gonna test me, then my eyes get a little big, and I slow down, and my voice raises. Ain't that right, man? That's right. Thank you. See, she knows. She's seen that a few times. But I don't say nothing I shouldn't say. I say it again. I don't say nothing I shouldn't say. No brag. Just fact. Now, back in the day now, before I grew up, boy, I tell you what, I would cut you one side and down the other, and then jumped in, you know. But see, God blew me up to let you see that ain't how you do it, Walter. You speak the truth in love. No matter how angry you get, you still speak the truth in love. And if you're angry, you still speak the truth in love. And when the person humbles down, then you quiet down. You're not used to keep raising your voice to somebody who's humbled down. But sometimes you got to raise your voice to get the person's attention.
That's right.
And let them know what you're not going to put up with. But you don't do it unless it's necessary. And then you don't rejoice in it because you don't there's nothing good about having to rebuke somebody. In the sense of necessity. In the sense of you do it when it's necessary. This is not my normal method of operation to just raise my voice and scold folk. No. That's not how God wants us to be. You scold when necessary. When not necessary, you don't scold. Amen. And even sometimes when you scold, you might not raise your voice. You might just whisper it. It depends on the situation. But the Holy Ghost will let you know how to handle it. But you got to handle it. You see? And so he brought to his father, who had the responsibility of dealing with his brothers, the report he needed to hear. Because with since Eli did not deal with his sons, then it cost him his life. Because God expects us to be peacemakers and do our jobs as people in authority. And so now the next, I'm sure it's this last week, but we'll read it again for the sake of reminder in 1 Corinthians 1, where Paul, and I dare say every letter Paul wrote, I didn't say this last week though, but I believe every letter that Paul wrote, he wrote because one way or another, he was aware of the problems at those congregations. He was aware. Either God revealed it, but I dare say most times somebody told him. And being the person he knew he should be, as I just said, he rebuked when he had to rebuke, but in the letter, he showed his love for them. He showed his appreciation for them. And I think even to the Corinthian church, he said he was writing lest he should be more sharp than it would be if he was in person. Something like that. Together. So he understood that there's a time to be sharp, but you don't just be sharp all the time because it's not profitable. It doesn't help to be sharp all the time. You be sharp when it's necessary. But so he's gotten word of all the problems that amongst his brothers and sisters at Corinth. Church, that God had used him to congregate, bring into existence in a sense. He's the one that witnessed to these people. He's the one that got them born again. And so now he hears there's problems among them. But really, I don't think this surprised him. Because as I said last week, babies are going to do, immature people are going to do. People who have a certain amount of immaturity going to do what they do because they are immature. Amen. You can't do what you should do till you grow up. That's what Paul said to this same church when he got through talking about love. He said, when I was a child, felt like a child, understood as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So he knew what was going on. And so he's helping his brothers and sisters because he's the one with the authority. Chloe, the house of Chloe, the family of Chloe. Didn't say specifically who. It could have been Chloe. I don't know. But somebody in Chloe's family wrote Paul and told him the things that were going on in Corinth. And so he starts out the letter thanking God for them, the brethren, you come behind in no gift and so forth. But then at the 11th verse, when he gets down to the part where he's got to deal with what's been going on. It has been declared unto me, somebody told me, of you, my brethren. Notice the love. Brethren. See, that was me back before I grew up. I'd have said, you so-called Christians. God said, no, son, they're not Christians. So-called Christians. They are Christians. They're just babies. Somebody put up with you, you put up with them. Just like right out. By them, which are the house of, or the family of Chloe. But there are contentions among you. There are quarrels among you. There are falling outs among you. There's dislike among you. There's wrangling, arguing noisily and persistently. There's debating, there's strife. And at best, there's still disagreement. I see it one way, they see it another way. And it brings all of that stuff. But once we get on God's word and see what he says about it, now we're all saying the same thing. That's why he told these same folk, we ought to have the same judgment and the same opinion. That's us today. That's why the class we're going to have, we're going to, brothers, sit down and look at the word of God about what's been taught amongst us as brothers working together with other brothers of other congregations. When we all sit down and look at God's word like they did in Acts 15 and look at what God has done, then we can know the truth. But if we never sit down and look at it, we'll never know the truth. That's why the enemy don't want to sit down. Now, it'll work if you can get away with it. But there's those of us who keep asking, can we sit down together? Why? So we can look at these things. And the people can get the truth. Because God, I tell you, is concerned about his people being taught the truth. Amen. I know that. I know that. I see that graphically. I know of 3 folk that used to be part of Rice Moore's congregation who got into witchcraft and disagreement and fighting the pastor and her mom warned them 3 years before it happened. They wouldn't heed the warning. All 3 fell dead. Why? Because God is concerned about his people being taught the truth. Amen. And so she warned them. I was at the meeting, the 3 o'clock program, one Sunday afternoon. 3 folk in fighting the pastor. I was assistant pastor then. But God knows what's going on. And he gonna show somebody. Now this is the worst type of disagreement taking place amongst Christians where they fight the pastor because the pastor is learning God's word, and some folk want to stay in traditions that make the word of God of no effect. And so they fight the pastor to pressure him or her to stay with traditions and leave God's word. Well, God's mind is either you preach the truth or you come home early. And so he warns them, even warns the pastor. And if I as pastor don't do my job, then I can't go home early and God has somebody to fill my place that will do the job. Which is why I'm where I am now. And if my pastor had not obeyed God, he didn't go home early. But he did obey God. And he told us a bunch of things that God gave him. He said, let it go. Let it go. And so he obeyed God, and he's still alive and kicking for us, I understand. He should be with us, but that's another story. But at least he obeyed God to where the people can continue to get fed the truth. It's all about the truth. It's all about the truth. verse says, open rebuke, open scolding. This is on that back page of the handout I gave you. Open scolding or reprimands is better than secret love. See, rebuke or correct. Secret love won't help nobody. Amen. Won't help nobody. It's not hate, but it's secret love. Faithful or nursing or supplying nourishment are the wounds of a friend. But the kisses of the enemy are deceitful, tending to mislead, deceive, and snare. Now look at this one here, and then we'll go back to the front, and I can come to a close here in a moment. He that rebuketh or scoldeth or reprimands a person afterwards. Everybody say afterwards. Afterwards shall find more favor than he that flattereth with his tongue. Now it helped you there. Amen. It helped me. Because before I learned this, I was shot shy. I would not tell her mom what God showed me. I didn't want her mad with me. She was too old to rebuke. But I wouldn't even correct her. I wouldn't say nothing. I just sat there, being a yes man. Knowing better, wasn't saying nothing. And God told me, I sent you here for a reason. You're here to help her. She helped you when you needed it. You're here to help her. If you say you love her, help her. Okay, I got the message. And what I thought was going to happen, it didn't happen. She didn't get mad with me. She praised God, praised me for obeying God initially. Now, she got a little sideways toward the end, but God straightened it out. But because of her sensitivity and her maturity, she didn't stay sideways very long at all. Not at all. And then the next set of verses talks about why God's word is given and what's going to solve the problem we face. It's going to be God's word if we preach and teach like God tells us. So this is all of us preachers. Now turn to the first page, and then we're going to look at a few words here, and then we're going to go on. First thing you see in Leviticus 19 is that we should not go up and down as a talebearer among the people. Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. Go back to the first phrase. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer. Well, I didn't know what that meant, so I looked it up. That's the one that carries tails. That seems almost simplistic, doesn't it? Talebearer. Tail carrier, carry tails. What's a tail? Didn't know. Any rehearsal of what has occurred. What has occurred. What has occurred. Put it in context. Some folk, they see what happened and know what happened, they just talk about what happened. They're calling and telling people what happened. Calling and telling people what happened. It's not good. On the other hand, you got somebody who tells people what happened. Tells people what happened, but for a purpose. I'll explain that a little bit further. Let's go a little further. Further defined, a tale is a piece of gossip. Well, I thought I knew what gossip was, but evidently I didn't know. But this is what gossip is. Idle, that's a colon, which means useless, which means unprofitable, which means thoughtless talk. Now the light's on. I got to work with that, Alicia. I ain't got it yet. That's what I had that habit since I was in high school. I took speech in high school, and they said, too much Bill Cosby. So why pay you? You know. Anyhow, another story. But if the talk is useless, if the talk is thoughtless and unprofitable talk, that's gossip. That's this over here. Now, if I'm like Chloe's family, I'm telling somebody in authority, I'm telling somebody that needs to know, I'm telling somebody that can help fix the problem, even if at least just help pray with me. In the sense of, let's talk to God about it. How should I talk? What should I ask God for? What can we ask God? What can we do to fix it? We're not just talking uselessly and without profit and thoughtlessly. We're talking about what happened, but it's not gossip. That's the difference. Okay? That's the difference. Chloe's family, what Joseph did, that wasn't gossip. That wasn't gossip. And if you don't watch it, it'll seem like negative talk because you're talking about something that happened that's not good, but you're talking for a reason. Amen. You're talking to help fix the problem. That's right. There's some of the brothers we work with in other congregations where there are problems. Those of us that really love those brethren, we should talk about what's going on so we can help fix the problem. Not just be talking to be talking. Did you know what so-and-so did? And sometimes men, and some women say, amen, are worse doctrine than some women. That's right. Most time women get the reputation, and for the most part, the average woman, not I said average. The average woman will gossip more than the average man, which is why Paul dealt with that in the letters he was writing. But that's average. But thank God for the women above average. You see. And the men also are above average. But the point is that if there's talk about a problem that we should be aware of, and some of the things I tell you about is for that same reason. It may seem like it's negative because it's not good. But unless you know what's happening, know what I'm going through as your senior pastor, you don't know how to talk to God on my behalf. Now see, I don't ask everybody to talk to God for me, because some folks don't pray for me. I ain't asked you to pray for nobody. No. But if I talk to somebody about talking to God to give me the wisdom for the situation, it's going to be somebody I know that's got enough sense to first hear what I'm saying and not repeat it to the wrong person who would get into thoughtless talk, as opposed to stand with folk that you can talk to who got number two, well, together we can solve this problem to help this person or help these people. You see? That's the difference. I didn't know that. I thought all talk, rehearsing what happened, is gossip. No. You got to fine tune it, get more light. Because Chloe told Paul what was going on. But that wasn't gossip. That was to help Paul fix the problem. And it's helping us today because we're learning from the stuff he wrote to them. It was God inspired. Enough to the point to where the people who put together the Bible are convinced what he wrote, those letters, is considered scripture because of the wisdom of God he had. Amen? Amen. So we learn what is gossip. We also learn what is not gossip. And we also learn that to tell somebody who is mature enough to help solve the problem is not gossip. It's not gossip. You don't say everything to everybody because everybody can't stand it. Some folks look at the gossip. That's why there's some things me and Ken talk about, or me and Ken and little Dave, or whomever that y'all don't know about. There's a few things. But the things I tell you is things you need to know. That's why in some of the letters Paul wrote, he called folk by name some of the stuff that was going on. And since my time is getting away, I'll just remind you of when, you can read it on your own, when Solomon had not become king yet. David is about to die. Nathan the prophet heard what Adonijah, I think it's Adonijah, Solomon's brother was doing. He was going to be a king. He got his banquet together, had his homies come on down, and they celebrated. He's going to be a king. And Nathan went to Bathsheba, Solomon's mama, David's wife. Have you heard what Adonijah said? See, some of y'all been hearing stuff, and they told me. Didn't tell me. Boy, I tell you, I messed it up really good, didn't I? You got the message, though. Amen. See? Didn't tell me. But eventually it comes out. But the point is, they said, have you heard what Adonijah said? He said, tell you what, we got to get to David. Tell you what, you go see David and tell him what's going on, and then you tell him, did you say my son's gonna be King Solomon? And yet Adonijah is talking about he's gonna be king, you see. And so while you talking, I'll come in behind you. That's what you call a Holy Ghost scheme, a Holy Ghost plan. And I'll confirm it. So sure enough, she goes in to see David, and then while she's talking, Nathan the prophet, they announce him, and then Nathan comes in, he confirms it, and David gets right to work. Say, get my mule, and get the priest, and anoint Solomon to be king. He will squash that thing right there. And he put it to rest. When Solomon became king, he dealt with the scheme that was going on with his brother. You read it. But that talk that Nathan got wind of, he went and told Bathsheba, and they both went to David, the person in authority, to solve the problem. You see, that's not tattling. That's not a talebearer. That's not gossip. Now we'll look at this next part about a tattler, and then we're going to be finished. Proverbs 26:20. Where no wood is, there the fire goeth out. So where there is no talebearer, the strife or quarrel or falling out, difference or disagreement ceases. It ain't no more. Well, what's a talebearer? We just looked at that, and only in this case, it's a different Hebrew word, but a lot of the definitions are still the same. Initially, it means a whisperer. The other word, talebearer, didn't mean whisperer. And so, but this is one who whispers or speaks with suspicion. Well, suspicion is a part of strife. And where there's envy and strife, there's confusion and every evil work, you see. Not speaking to help, but speaking with suspicion. Then it's further defined there being a tattler being idle, useless, unprofitable, thoughtless talker. You see. That's the person doing that. The useless, unprofitable, thoughtless talk. You see. And it goes out. A little further. You see how the Septuagint reads it also. With much wood, fire increases. Well, California tell you that. The fires are out there right now. But where there is not a double-minded person, strife ceases. Oh, double-minded. Person with, how you put it, having different minds at different times. You see, unsettled, wavering, unstable, undetermined. But when you get determined, you're about heaven folk. Solving problems. You're a peacemaker. Person over here, they go over here sometimes, then they go back over here sometimes. You got a trail. Then they go over here sometimes. Camera had to stay with us. Then they go back over here sometimes. They're double-minded. That's right. God wants us over here. Stable, determined, unwavering. The talk we're going to do is going to be talk that's well thought out. It's going to be useful talk. It's going to be talk that's profitable. And sometimes it may not seem like it, but if we judge it properly, we can see what kind it is. Amen? Amen? That's why I want you to have this. So you can see the understanding, the light about what is beneficial talk and what's not. Because I just learned about this myself the last couple of weeks. Then there is he that speaketh like the piercing of a sword. But the tongue of the wise is health, medicine, and healing. Even though it may be a little hurtful to the person you're talking to at first, because the wounds we're freeing are nourishing. Some wounds do hurt. When I went to the doctor and they began to open me up and operate his leg like I did David's hip, operate on one hip, and I got the other hip operated on. Those wounds are nourishing. But there are other people that speak and they just cut me up. That's not what he's talking about. When he's talking about the wounds of a friend. A friend is not going to speak as a person of a sword where they're hurt needlessly and thoughtlessly. Everything they're saying, there's a reason for it. But the tongue of the wise is health, and medicine and healing. Let's see. Then he says, a forward, unyielding, ungovernable, disobedient person soweth strife, falling out in disagreement. And a whisperer can separate best friends. Best friends. Let's get the last one, 1 Timothy 5, who it says, and with all they learn to be idle, talk about these certain women that Paul is referring to in the letter to Timothy, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, which is the devil's idle man, the devil's workshop, we've heard that, a lot of truth to it, but tattlers, also busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. See, there again, they ought not. And tattlers is, we've already defined that, talking about a person that speaks useless, unprofitable, thoughtless talk. So that gives us the understanding we need to judge what we're going to let our minds influence us to say and what we're going to squash, because now I know that thought that came to say this is not really God, but it's thoughtless talk. It's either gossip, it's called gossip. That's the same name for it, but it's thoughtless, useless, unprofitable talk. Or in some cases, God tells a person to say this to this person or say this to your pastor or whomever, somebody with authority, and the person goes, no, I'm not going to say that because that's gossip. No, it's not gossip. If it's going to help somebody, if your mind's to help some person that you're supposed to help, then it's not useless, thoughtless talk. If you have to, run it by me. I help you with it. But by giving you this and sharing the word of God about it, you can help yourselves. And the biggie about it is this, as I take my seat, or as I finish up this morning, my mind went back to the lesson we had on the conscience. Remember what it is? The conscience? Let's see here. What's the conscience? You ain't got to give me exact. Just give me the roundabout gist of what our conscience is. Anybody remember? Now, Anthony wasn't even here, but you may know. What you got? Talk to me.
The conscience it's a voice that tells you what to do and what not to do.
That's really good. When you think about it, that's very good. It may be a voice, and sometimes you just sense what to do and what not to do. But that's pretty good, real good, really. Anybody want to help him out?
I remember one scripture that said, your conscience don't condemn you when you without. So is that the Holy Ghost?
He's involved.
Yeah.
He is involved.
Okay.
He works with our conscience.
Right.
But conscience, remember, is...
Feeling and reasoning?
Say again?
Feeling and reasoning side? Is that what you're talking about?
It had to do with the reasoning, but this is more precise. The definition is moral perception. More, when you look it up, and it's the moral perception. But it's the knowing we have in us of what's right and wrong. Once I know what's right, once my conscience knows what's right, when my conscience speaks, as he points out, and as King just reminded us, our conscience will condemn us. But it's because we know what's right. So when I teach you the truth of what's right and wrong, and you know that, you understand that, and then when you judge yourself, you can say, well, I've been doing right. I've been saying what I should say. Because I didn't feel good about it at first, but now I know I was right. My conscience confirms I've done right. On the other hand, my conscience goes, well, now you know you should have said that. Then I repent. And I said, boy, I didn't realize it. Well, nobody doesn't realize it for the most part, you know. But now that we do realize it, then we can judge ourselves and make the correction. And that's the only time you can judge yourself with the correction, when you got to understand it. You understand the truth, you judge yourself by the truth, and then if the truth condemns me, oh, I missed that. As I said, I feel like a piece of dirt. Lord, forgive me. Because I didn't realize how bad I was. But now I do, so forgive me. You see. And that's what it's about. But we can't make that correction except we know the truth that these scriptures and these words being defined bring us. That's the point I'm trying to make. And that's why this past week, different ones have made the adjustment because of truths they learned. And that's what it's about. We teach the truth in love. We know the truth. Then my own conscience condemns me and convicts me where I've been wrong, and I can then go ask you for forgiveness, or go ask them for forgiveness, whatever the case may be. Because now I'm aware of it. You see. And like Luther said, it's not safe and not wise to violate conscience. Something like that the other day. I forget now how he said that. I know he said not safe to go against conscience. And he says, and so therefore I cannot recant. What I said is true. Ain't backing off of it. So once we know the truth, your conscience will not let you back off of it. Unless you force yourself like Saul did. He said, I forced myself to disobey God. You see. But we don't want to be like that. We want to be controlled by the Holy Spirit, he said, and our conscience. Where our conscience that has the moral perception, and Anthony says, sometimes we hear his voice. A voice. Telling us what's right and wrong. Well, you got to know what's right and wrong first. Else your conscience can't convict you. Amen? Let's stand and go enjoy our families, and thank you for your time.